Welcome home, family and fellow citizens of the African Order. I'm here with another video, and the topic of this discussion is the year 2020 in review. Um, you know, before I get into this video, what have we been hearing about this country all our lives? America is the greatest country on earth. Anybody else in any other field say anything close to that, you're going to have to show some receipts to verify it. I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were talking about Floyd Mayweather. And he was like, don't worry about what I did to these fighters here. Look at all this right here. And he had a list of fighters who he defeated. All of them was either champions or number one contenders. And this is what I just did to the champions. So if Floyd Mayweather says he's the greatest of all time, I will have to take his word for that because this man has receipts. When you look at football teams, when they say the greatest of all time, you have to see some championships. You don't look at injuries and what prevented them from doing this and that. You look at championships. America has been saying they're the number one country on the planet. But when you look at the statistics, they don't rank number one in nobody's list, not even their own. The only thing they do rank number one in is viciousness. This is why they're able to tout being the greatest country on earth and don't have not a receipt to document it. The year 2020 should represent vision. And we should see today that these guys has not been nowhere near as good. They haven't even been good, let alone great. When you look at our people, since we've been in this country, we've been last. And whites have no one to blame for this but themselves. They brought our people over here as slaves. They dismantled the way of life in this country and refashioned it after their own design. They put themselves at the head of the military, the politics, the industrial base, the economy. They put themselves ahead of everything. They had nobody to contend with. And now, here we are in 2020. Blacks are still last. And yet they still want to work together and still want to justify them standing in the position that they're in to get it straight. So from 1619 to 2020, whites have been doing this all their way. They've been making all the adjustments, all the amendments, everything. And when you see blacks struggling, somehow they still want to say it's black people's fault. Because see, as a parent, when you have children and you put them in your care, you raise them to a point where they're able to go off on their own. Where they don't need you or your guidance no more. You didn't taught them all that you could, and now they gotta fly. Birds, when a chick reach a certain age, the mother bird push the chick out the nest. Either you gonna fly or you gonna die. As long as we stay within the margins and under the understanding of whites, they're never going to elevate us to the point where we can go on without them. As I said in the previous video, whites, they don't want blacks to do anything on their own. We can't even form a governing body to look over our own affairs, not their affairs, our own. And if 2020 didn't show us anything, it should have showed us now that we need to be up under the care of somebody else. When you look at the pandemic and how disproportionately it was killing our people, why? Because of the pre-existing conditions and everything that made us vulnerable or more vulnerable to COVID, whites are in control of. They're in control of our health, what we eat, what we pay, how much medication costs. So even if we could buy the medication, then we couldn't afford to eat. Or if we ate well, we couldn't afford to get sick. They do this because we have no alternative. And the fact of the matter is, this country, it is not just need reform. It need to be replaced. There isn't a branch that make up this system that you could take to anywhere and brag about it. Economically, this country has 3 times more debt than it has revenue. Judicially, you have more people incarcerated than any other country on the planet. Politically, you just elected a clown as president of the United States. And because he lost the election, he hadn't shown his face on TV, but yet he's plotting a revolt to overthrow the election. You're a billionaire, Donald Trump. Let you tell it. If the people didn't want you to be their president, just go back to your billionaire life. But some of us know you don't have a billionaire life. That's why you refuse to go back. And see, it is time for people to, or for my people, to realize white people have a totally different set of values than it comes to blacks. Here you have politicians investing in the stock market when they hear about COVID, as opposed to securing and making a way for the people to navigate through this. I myself am sick and tired of listening to all these so-called experts as we navigate through these problems. We can form our own system. Listen to our own experts that will navigate us around these problems. With all these experts that we have, we should not have to go through all these wars, pandemics, economic collapses, attacks, and you have all these experts. Their knowledge should be used to prevent these things from happening, not pulling us out of them. Here you have 300,000 something people dead, millions infected with COVID, and they're trying to negotiate a stimulus package to give the people some money. But the last stimulus package they came up with was freaking 10 months ago. So even if they gave you $10,000 10 months ago, with the country shut down, how long would that have lasted? a couple of months at the most, 3 at the most. And then now you come up with the second stimulus package. And this is only $600. What is $600? That's not even that's barely a good month of groceries. And with the price of food going up, you can't even say that no more. So this country is not the greatest. It ain't even good. Because every time a episode come up, your greatness will shine. Floyd Mayweather wouldn't be the boxer he is if every time he fought a top 10 fighter, he lost. You laugh at him if he said he was the best. And every time you fought a number 5, 3, 1, the champ, every time you lose. No NFL, NBA team can tout being the best without no championships. Always got an excuse why you lost. If this is the greatest country on earth, show me. Here you got people sit up here starving, struggling. Food banks seeing people showing up that they ain't never seen before. And then you got your president out on the golf course playing golf. While the people sit up here waiting to see what they're going to do with their money. This is not the politicians' money. This is your money. And then he wait till everything is done. And then not only do he don't want to sign it, but he want to take the negotiated amount and want over 3 times what the bill say. But then if talking about the reason why he didn't want to sign the bill, because the bill itself has some type of legislation in it where they were going to rename military bases that was named after Confederate soldiers or Confederate generals. And he wanted to protect the image and reputation of the dead. While the people that voted him in office, the living people, suffer. This is the value system that I speak about there that is totally opposite of what blacks have. There's no way on earth you will protect the reputation of a dead Confederate general over the lives of the so-called American people that you're supposed to love. You know, it's like this. If you had a wife and you look to your wife and you said to her, whatever you need, I want you to come to me first. If you're not happy, I want you to come to me first. If you're hungry, I want you to come to me first. If you need anything, I want you to come to me first. You don't go to nobody else. You come directly to me. And then if your wife turn around and says the same thing to you, can you imagine what type of household they would be living in? If whatever you needed as a man, you knew you could go right to your woman and get it. And your woman knew whatever she needed, she can come to you to get it. Imagine what type of household they would be living in. Now, imagine a household where whatever the woman or the man need, they have to go somewhere outside the home to get it. And still come back to that home after they got it. Now imagine what type of household that would be. This is the state that our people are in. All the love, all the wants, all the needs, all the desires, we go to other people to provide for us. And then we come back to our communities and we have no love for each other. Why? Because everything we need, they get from somewhere else. How could you as a man look at your woman and know if she needs anything, she can't come to you for it? And the same thing as a woman. You can't fulfill the needs of your man. How inadequate do you think they would be? If being a top priority to your wife and being a top priority to your husband would make that a happy home. If we made ourselves our top priority, wouldn't that make us a happier people? Will we have the dysfunction that we have today if we depended and relied upon each other? We are not going to get to this point just, because the year turned from 2020 to 2021. But we can start the process of getting to that by seeing things as they really are. Here, you having these politicians watching you suffer and misusing your money. They taking trillions of your dollars and giving it to a few dozen businesses and industries. And then turn around and take $1 billion and give it to hundreds of millions of people. That makes absolutely no sense. And this is going to continue as long as we participate in it. Now, we have to take priority over our needs. This is why whenever I start my video, I always, welcome home family and fellow citizens of the African order. Why? Because home is our family. This is where family go. Family go for encouragement. Family go for counsel, resources to make you better family members. We're going to put aside all our issues, resolve as many as we can. We're going to set goals for our people. And then when we commit to being the change that we want, the change that we need, the change that we've been waiting for, then we commit to the change by becoming citizens of the African order. And all the things we discussed about doing, to building businesses and industries, institutions to develop and guard and protect our way of life. We won't have to worry about lack of commitment. We won't have to worry about a lack of intellectual knowledge. We won't have to worry about a lack of funds and resources, because as citizens of the African order, this is what we're committed to doing. And it frustrates me to no end whenever I talk to black people or black people want to include me in their conversations and they talk about what's being done to us. Then here I come saying, okay, what about the solution? What can we do to stop them from doing this? I know the only way we can stop them from doing this is doing for ourselves. And then the same people who bring these issues up to me turn around and talk about some, well, we don't work together. Well, we can't do this. Well, we don't do. Then what are we bringing it up for then? What are we here for? How long have we got to listen to these guys tout about they're the greatest country on earth? They're the wealthiest country on earth, and give you a $1,200 one-time stimulus package 10 months ago, then turn around 10 months later and give you $600. While other countries is giving their people $6,000 and $8,000 a month. A month. And you getting $1,200 10 months ago, and then 10 months later, $600? If anybody said they had any plan to put us on another path other than this, you would think black people would be running for it. Because where you at is so terrible. Wherever I say we can go, it's got to be better than where we already at right now. If I was on a plane and it started going down, and the stewardess come running up and down the aisle, talking about something, the pilot and co-pilot is dead. If anybody sat there and said they knew how to fly the plane, or they'll give it a shot, do you think I'm going to try to stop them? Do you think it can't get no worse? It can't get no worse.
According to Merriam-Webster, comparative of bad or of ill. 1. More bad or evil is cheating worse than lying. 2. Being in poorer health, the child was worse the next day. 3. More unfavorable, difficult,
I can't believe his phone is doing this. Let me forget my train of thought. But the plane is going down. So whatever this guy can do, let him do. He can't get no worse than it is. But we listen to all these different excuses. A guy telling me the other day, talking about something, well, the economy is, this country is going to collapse. It's going to collapse. It has collapsed. This country has collapsed. The fact of the matter is, the only reason why it hasn't been officially announced yet is because the white people aren't going to admit that. They aren't going to admit that. You have 3 times more debt than you do revenue. Your political situation, you have whites in control of the Democratic and Republican Party. It's a shambles. Judicially, you're locking up people. Matter of fact, you even open up private prisons so the rich can get richer locking up criminals. So you got a governing body investing in crime to keep the prisons open, and yet still represent the people itself. If 2020 don't show you anything, it should show you this. Where's your vision? How do you continue to support a system that works against the people's best interests? If a child is in court charged with mass murder and all this other stuff, and everybody in the courtroom know he's guilty, if I heard one voice that touts his innocence, his goodness, it's going to be his mother or father, somebody close to him. That'll be the only one. And white people are the only ones that's going to sit here and say, in the midst of this country being last in everything, you look at this, how this COVID has exposed the vulnerabilities and frailties of this country that it should never have had. And yet America is the only country, it's the only people that still want to say this country is the greatest one. Ask any other country about that. Is America greater than you? They would, trust me. America's the only country that is saying that. No other country, I don't care how bad this country say it is, I don't believe no other country would say America's greater than them. You know, just like blacks have a bad image. Why? Because whites control all the media. Do you think they're going to sit up and tell the beautiful stories of blacks? You're going to think they're going to tell the truth about our accomplishments? When you have black media telling black stories, when you have white media telling black stories, you think they're going to tell the truth? When you have black judicial system prosecuting blacks, do you think they're going to give them a fair shot in court? When you have white corporations hiring blacks, you think they're going to hire them at the same rate as they hire their own? When you have white businesses and industries paying blacks, do you think they're going to pay blacks the same? No. No. So what other country is going to tell you that America's greater than them? Of course America's going to say that they're the greatest. But they're the greatest despite everything else. Having more debt than anybody. You know, this is, and I look at these people, I mean, what are we doing? Because if you think it's hopeless to fight against these people, then what's the point? If I'm walking down the street with my woman or whatever, and I see a gang of guys coming our way, I'm already know I'm going to take the L, and I may even get killed. But I'm not going to sit up here and just let them do whatever they want to do to whoever I'm with, without a fight. I don't care what the situation is. You know, hear this guy talking about something. I wish I had a crystal ball so I could see if my kids can live. I don't care what your crystal ball say. If your crystal ball say you're gonna lose the fight, and the fight come to you, if you got any man in you, you still gonna fight. I mean, what are we doing? Of course, your crystal ball gonna tell you we're gonna lose the fight if you ain't willing to put up a defense. You're gonna always lose. You know, then you listen to all these other conversations. As soon as we start talking about, you know, what blacks can do to fight against whitey, then the same people, they flip the whole direction of the conversation. Well, you need gold. We need this. We need that. Gold is universal currency. Gold has never been no universal currency. Gold has always been gold. A knife, I can make a rock. I can make plywood currency. If I put a knife to your throat and tell you I'm going to slit your throat if you don't take this plywood and give me your wallet in exchange. Force makes gold valuable. If this country came to a collapse and I had a loaf of bread and a gold nugget in my hand, and you were hungry, what would you want me to offer you in exchange for goods and services? The gold or the bread. So don't sit up here and tell me that gold is something universal where you could just take it anywhere. No. As a matter of fact, this country dropped the gold standard to the currency of this country back in the 70s because they were stealing so much money. If you only had $1 billion worth of gold, then you could only have $1 billion worth of currency in circulation. But these thieves, these crooks, they were stealing so much, the gold standard was stopping them from continuing stealing. So now they would have to stop and manage their money to stay within the confines of what the gold standard was. So they dropped it. Now your money is backed by nothing. And now this is how you can have over 3 times more debt than you do revenue and still call yourself the greatest country on earth because you got the most military on the face of the planet. 2020 should have shown you this. So 2020 is not just a year. It should represent vision. And I'm telling you right now, I have seen enough from these clowns. I know we can do better than this. When you have people struggling, don't know what they're going to do, and you got your president of the United States playing golf, what else do you need to see? What else do you need to see? You know, it's the thing is this, like I said before, if you have peace in what you do, then you would be a fool to leave it. But if you do not have peace in what you do, you will be a fool to stay. There's no way on earth black people cannot tell me, or black people can tell me, that they have peace in this system. They have peace in this way of government. You cannot have peace going to schools, jobs, courts, hospitals, all under the control of whites. You can't tell me you have peace and you can't go nowhere where you decide or you determine the level, care of treatment you get from these establishments. If you tell me that, I'm telling you, you a dang on coward and a deceiver. When you are last in everything. It is time, 2020 should tell us it's time for us to stop choosing to be the tail and decide to be the head. Because if we don't, 2021 will offer us nothing more or nothing better than what we got in 2020. Here you have COVID, and in 9 months' time, 10 months, they done developed a vaccine. They done took a whole department and dedicated it to finding a cure. They getting apps developed to track to make sure you participate in this vaccination. Blacks have been last economically but you compile no economic forum to address the need. You force no businesses or institutions to pay us fair wages. We last judicially, but you have not reformed the courts and did away with the unfair judicial practices and then forced them to adhere to it. You've did nothing politically, where blacks have been supporting candidates for Senate, Congress, President, and got nothing in return. Nothing tangible. Even Joe Biden in 2020. I see you, Joe. All the appointees that you give in blacks is all contingent upon you keeping your job. Kamala Harris ain't no way in the world she gonna run and win for President of the United States. No way. So as soon as you get out of office, everybody you appointed, black, Secretary of State, whoever, they all gone. We need people in office that's going to be there beyond you. And no white person is going to do that for us. We have to do that for ourselves. You know, it's just so much that I want to say. So much of this I just cannot see our people continuing to go on this way, knowing that we can do better. If we replace every institution that we currently serve and create an alternative, there's no way we could be as bad or worse than where we are right now. And just to sit back and give the same people who put us in this situation chance after chance to get us out of it, that's ridiculous. This whole year 2020 has been nothing but a disaster. This virus has came into this country, shut down everything, separated us from our family to the point if somebody go to the hospital, we can't even go visit them. They have to die by themselves. We don't have no compassion from any institutions. Well, if you want to come visit, you have to wear this and you can come in. No, just stay home. You can't even come through the door. Your children, your husband, your wife. You can't even come in and see them because you have no authority. I don't care what affliction somebody is going through. When you hand your people over, your children over to institutions, and you have no say, no control over the treatment they receive, I feel just as sick as they do. But the feeling of just hopelessness, you can't take a pill for that. A vulnerability, just handing your child over, handing your husband over, your wife. And here you got somebody you ain't never seen never see him again in your life, telling you you can't do this or you can't do that. We got it from here. Don't know. And then soon you want to talk about all that they doing to us. Then as soon as I start talking about what we can do for us, well, we don't, blacks don't work together. What if you're scared? Just say you're scared and get on the sideline. and let the people who have the balls, have the courage, have the knowledge, have the plan, let them step up. Stop pretending you want a revolution, or we're going to continue going through this. I'd rather you not talk to me about it at all if you don't have no desire to see it through. You know, people see my videos or whatever, hear what I be saying. Oh, you got your face on it saying, yes, yes. This is how I feel about my people. You know, why do you care so much, Jonathan? You're doing pretty well. You know, because I love my people. I don't want to be the only one that's doing well. You know, I was in the camera store the other day buying a lens. Yeah, for my camera. I said I can't get too many people to come on my little podcast I want to do. You know, and I got to tell the guy about it, and he like, oh, you want to tell the truth? Yeah, that's, and it's sad. If I want to sit up here and gossip, if I want to sit up here and give makeup tutorials, if I want to sit up here and just rant and I would have thousands of views, thousands of shares, thousands of subscriptions. But because I don't want to talk about change, I talk about being the change. This is why I get what I get, and this is why people get what they get, because they don't want to participate. All you want to do is complain. I'm talking about creating our own businesses and institutions. I'm talking about establishing our own currency. How we can transition from this system into our own. How we can govern our own people, oversee our own affairs, turn our neighborhoods into communities. How to defend and preserve our way of life. How to hand down businesses and industries to our children as opposed to debt and death. But I guess that's too much, you know, and people, you know, well, Jonathan, you know, you know, how you want to do all this, but you know, but don't I don't want to hit don't I don't want to be here, you know, just tell me something real quick, but don't even worry about it, bro. Don't even worry about it. When you see where we are at, there is no quick fix. When I used to work in the bank, and I would tell my customer, she said, "Well, I'm sorry, I have all this to do." I said, "Look here, don't worry about it, sweetheart. There's no time limit on this transaction. I want to take your thing and we're going to do it piece by piece. I want to give you just as much time as I would anybody else." And taking the problems of our people, now the more people that we have to get on board initially, the faster we can get started and the faster we can get through. But if we don't want to take the reins out of the hands of these fools that got them now, and just sit back and nickel and dime, you know, because the thing is, there are organizations out there right now that want you to pay $20 a month, you know, to rescue dogs. They want to pay, St. Jude want to pay like $20 a month, for the hospital. They want like $20, $15 a month or whatever, just save polar bears. I'm listening to this organization called Medishare, where they have a bunch of Christians. They come together and they pay money to pay and share medical expenses amongst the group. You have GoodRx, the same thing. You could subscribe to an app, and it takes the pressure off of dealing with specific topics. All these organizations will just handle one thing. I'm talking about creating an organization where we can combine our money to take care of all things. Because see, if you have a dam and there's a hole in it, creating an app to address dog abuse is like taking a cup and filling that cup up as the water come out the hole. You're going to always have to have a cup there because you got an ocean behind you. There's an ocean behind this wall. And you want to fill up one cup at a freaking time. You get the Medishare people. They want to fill up one cup at a time. Here you got St. Jude, one cup at a time. Polar Bear, one cup at a time. Feed the Hungry, one cup at a time. As opposed to creating a system that'll fix the problem that create the holes in the wall. What do you want to do? Do you want to stay on this side of the wall trying to fill up one cup at a time? Or do you want to take the fight to where it should be on the other side of the wall, create a system to fix the problem totally? Can you imagine having a community of people up under the Citizens of African Order? All agree to a certain standard of living, to respect and put their people as their number one priority? You wouldn't have nobody in there abusing or beating no dogs. You wouldn't have nobody in there abusing or beating their wives or children. You wouldn't have crime running up and down the street. But they don't do that, Jonathan. Get on the other side of the wall, and we could build an organization that'll you can keep filling the cup. Lord knows I did not mean to make this video this long, but this is my passion. And like I said, as we end 2020, I want us to have the vision to see where we are at. And as I said before, if we don't get our act together, 2021 is not going to show us nothing better than what we got in 2020. So I'm going to end this video here. I'm going to end this video here. And with this video, as with all my videos, it is for the complete liberation of my people. And if you like this message, please share it. And if you like it, I'll subscribe to it, the channel. I'm trying to have a new setup in a couple of weeks. I got a building I'm trying to get together and have a whole different look. So, and I do this on my own. I don't ask for nobody's help, but all I ask for my people is to listen. And when you have hope, I want you to listen to my channel, and I will give you something to hook your hope onto. Because right now we live in a system where you can't even hang hope on nothing. And that's a shame. But as I said, let me end this video here. And like I said, with this video and all my videos, It is for the complete liberation of my people. And I'll see you in my next message. Ashe.